Hi, it's Russ from Studio One Expert, and I've got myself a copy of MODO Bass from IK Multimedia. Now, what makes MODO Bass different from lots of other bass VIs on the market is traditionally we've either had sampled bass libraries or we've had synth-based libraries, so synthesis making the sound, or samples, recordings of the real instrument, and then lots of gadgetry goes on in the background to make them sound as realistic as possible. This is using physical modelling. It's taken them 8 years to bring it, and have worked with a top university to create it, which they have claimed gives you unprecedented control and unprecedented sound quality as well. I have to say that I have some of the top libraries in the business already on my machine. The famous one, of course, is on my machine, and I wanted to give this a run just to see if it was as good as other people have claimed. Eli Kranzberg, who works over at Logic Pro Expert and does a lot of great training, had shown this to me, and I was impressed by his video, so I wanted to check it out for myself. So if you're a Studio One user, then this might be worth you checking out yourself, downloading the demo and give it a spin. It has, as I say, a significant amount of control, and I say significant is an understatement, because basically what you can do, you can choose different starting basses here and go through them, and if we go up we'll see there's everything from basic vintage kind of funky basses, rock basses, Rickenbacker basses, there's even, as I say, you want to go real long hair and shaky hair, Japanese basses, all sorts of stuff in there. And then you can do a lot of stuff with it. You can move the position here for a start when you're working with it, the play position. Then you can choose the playing style, finger pick, slap, muting, different strokes, different touch, whether it rings or not, the fingering position, the strings that you use, how old they are, how close they are, how many there are. So you can have drop D, you can have 5 strings on the bass. You can choose between a tube amp and a solid state amp. You can then choose stomp boxes as well to use with it. So as you can imagine, that gives you a huge amount of control, and when you're in these different things you can see the control on each thing. So I'm going to play it now and just give you some ideas. Now the really cool thing as well is one of the most important things, especially when doing bass, is that you've got some kind of control over the way the bass playing happens, because bass players don't tend to just sit on the same string all the time. They'll move around strings, they'll use open strings, they'll move to a higher string, an octave string, they'll mute at times, they'll play off, they'll let it ring, and so you have this unprecedented control up here of doing let it ring, forcing it to play a B string, hammering and pulling off. You can choose between the index and the middle strokes. You can choose between pick, slap and finger in situ as it's playing. So I've got a part here, let me play it to you. Now the first thing you'll notice is, if you look here, if I had this in 4-string mode, I'd lose some playing parts, because you see down here it goes down below the 4 strings, and so straight away with this part I've got, I can go to a different part there, as you can see here, so I'm not missing that. Now you might see these strings playing as well. Now these strings aren't strings, these are my control points. And you see now and again I've got it let it ring. And we get a middle stroke at one point as well, so I've got control over the playing style. So let's go through this and just give you some examples. So that's the 70s J bass. That's a standard one. Modern one. There's a P bass, and again we can move the play closer to the neck, right down there at the bridge. And as I say, we can come through and start doing some other things. Check to pick, slap, mute it, let's go back to finger, pull the muting back down to 0, change the finger position, change the strings themselves. So say we were going to play with 5 strings, that wouldn't really happen on a P bass, which is interesting. But you can, of course, Frankenstein your bass. Let's put some flat wounds on it. More jazzy sound. Change the gauge of the string. The age of the string. Then we can do things like add a second pickup in. Change the original pickups. So this really is, it's a bassman pickup. Change the circuit to an active circuit. Then we come to the amps. Let's go to the tube amp. Add some harmonics in. Come down to the stomp boxes. Bit of comp in there. Let's add a chorus in. And then mix the amp and the DI. So what do I think? I think it is a very, very powerful bass VI. I think it's easy to use and it gives you great sounding flexible basses that in a mix no one will be able to spot the difference between that and a great bass player as long as you program the bass parts right in the first place. So if you're somebody who programs bass parts and needs flexible basses that sound really great in tracks, then this is well worth checking out. I really like it a lot and give it a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon.